Okay, let's start with the basics of circles. So this is our circles part 1 assignment. Tomorrow will be part 2. Okay, so circles. You need to know how to find the circumference of a circle. Circumference equals what? Diameter times pi, or? Thank you. Circumference equals what? 2 pi r. Okay, so pi times diameter or 2 pi r. You need to know those equations and you need to know how to use them. But it's a matter of plugging it into your calculator and pressing equals. Okay. You also need to know how to find the area of a circle. I heard it slightly, I think. Pi r squared is the area of a circle. I'm not going to do problems with that because, again, it's just plugging it in. Does anyone remember the arc length formula? M over 360 times 2 pi r. Because arc length is just a piece of the circumference. This is my circumference formula. This is the piece of it. Okay, that's all arc length is. It's a piece of the circumference. We also have sector area. What's the formula for sector area? Good, because it's a piece of the area. So the area is pi r squared, and then we're taking a piece of it. All of those are just a matter of plugging it in and pressing equal on your calculator. Are we okay with those? Okay, now the fun stuff. Huh?
These are examples, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase that. What type of angles are all of those angles? Central angles. How do you know they're central angles?
Because they're all attached to the center.
Okay. All of their vertices are in the center of the circle. We're okay with that? Now, here's where we all messed up. I shouldn't say all. Here's where a lot of us messed up on our test. What is the relationship between central angles and the arc that they create? They're congruent. They're the same. Okay, it's not half. It's not 2 times. Central angles and the arc that they create are congruent. So, what is the measure of KL?
55.
55. Great. Can someone tell me what JM is? What is it called? It's a diameter. Cut your circle in half and creates 180 degrees. Correct?
Yep.
Can we find the measure of arc JK? Yes? Okay, I want you to find the measure of arc JK.
I've never done it ever.
Okay, I heard Desiree say 66. Desiree, can you explain to us how you got 66?
I added 55 and 59 and subtracted it from 180.
Good. We know this is 59, so 55 plus 59 is something, and then 180 minus that something gives us 66. Yes? Okay. What is the relationship between angle JIK and angle NIM? What is the relationship between angle JIK and NIM? They're congruent because they are vertical. Okay, great. Next picture. What type of angle is angle BDC? Inscribed. And how do we know it's an inscribed angle? The vertex is on the circle. Okay? Now, what is the relationship between an inscribed angle and the arc that it creates? The arc is 2 times what the angle is. So if I know the angle and I'm trying to figure out the arc, I multiply by 2. If I know the arc and I'm trying to find the angle, I divide by 2. Okay? So I want to figure out what the measure of this angle is. And here is some information. Now, if I knew what CB was, so if I knew what this arc was, it'd be easy to find the angle. Agreed? Oh, I see a lot of head shaking. Okay. Can I find that arc? Yes? Andrea, how?
You add 110 and 56, and then you subtract that from 360.
Good, because the whole thing equals 360. So when I do that, I get 194. But if I want the angle, I'm going to divide by 2. So my final answer is 97 degrees. Yes? Okay, last thing for today. If one of these lines was tangent to the circle, which line would it be? So since only one person responded to that, let me ask the question again, and that person's not going to respond this time. If one of these lines was tangent to the circle, which line would it be? AB. Okay. How do I know that AB is tangent to that circle? Huh? Maybe? What about the tangent and the radius? They make a 90-degree angle. Okay, so the tangent and the radius should create a 90-degree angle. Do we know right now that that angle is 90 degrees? No, there is no box, and there is nothing that tells you it is. So that's what we have to figure out. Okay. Now, we know what the Pythagorean theorem is, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. The definition of the Pythagorean theorem is if you have a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay. The converse to that is if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then we have a right triangle. So that's what we are trying to prove, that a squared plus b squared is going to equal c squared. So let's call this a, let's call this b, and that's c. Because theoretically that would be the hypotenuse, right, if this is the right angle. So a squared plus b squared might equal c squared. That's what we're trying to figure out, if it equals it. So 144 plus 256, and then 400. I don't know if it's equal yet because I haven't added all this up. Does 400 equal 400? Yes, which means AB creates a right angle and is tangent to that circle. Okay, yes?
So the question was asked, is this a right triangle?
The question says, determine if line AB is tangent to the circle. That's what the question says. Okay. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
This is problem 17 on your assignment for tonight. So when you get your assignment, you can just copy that down. Okay. Any questions? Fabulous.